right, you're gonna look at the camera or what? Hi.
Hi.
Well, hey friends, welcome back to my channel. A while back, I asked you guys to send questions for Q&A for the favorite mother here. You can find her on Instagram. She doesn't really do Instagram.
I don't post anything though.
But she's on it.
I just lurk.
I'll put it down below. I love my lurkers, clearly. Doyle wanted to be a part of the video today, so we are back a little bit further so you can see his fuzzy body. And tomorrow we are actually going to Alaska, so we're both really excited, and figured I wanted to get this video filmed and possibly load while we're gone. You guys had a ton of questions for the favorite mama, so let's get into this.
Okay, I'm ready.
She is. She got to see the questions beforehand, so that was her agreement. She had to see them before. She's like, I don't know what
I don't know about this pop quiz thing.
Right? She's like, I might not know the answers. So the first question was, what was Emily like as a child?
Oh my gosh. Well, Emily was always a social butterfly. She was the kid in the neighborhood and the class that put girls and boys together. Seriously. She matched them up. Yeah. And if the boys had questions about, I don't understand this girl, she was the one that they went to tell them exactly what was going on. So, and she was always the one that would call the boy for the girl. Oh yeah. And say, hey, do you like so and so?
I had no shame. I still don't. I'm like, I'm Captain Obvious. I'm like, hey, what's going on? You like her? You don't? I don't care. Like, let's figure this out, you know?
So she was that kid. That kid.
Yes.
But she was very, very social. Really didn't pay a lot of attention to things in class because those were not as important to her. She was a slob when she was younger. I have pictures of her bedroom that are just unbelievable. Yes. And as soon as she moved out of the house, she turned into a neatnik. I don't know how that happened, but
I don't know either. It's just like a light switch, and it's like
moved out of mom and dad's house, and it's just like, who is this girl?
Basically, yeah.
I don't know what happened. Anyway, but no, she was fun. She was kind of a pain in the butt when she was an early teen.
Very much.
And about the time that she turned 18, she turned into a nice person. And at one point, I did say to her,
"You're so mean."
I did say to her, "Oh, Emily, you're back. Oh, it's so nice to have that nice Emily back again. I love it."
Sound like I was like some terrorist or something.
You were just a pain in the ass.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
I know.
So it was just going through those teen years.
Yes,
so.
I like to voice my opinion, and I wanted to be heard, and you know, like
she did.
Yeah.
She did. Believe me.
Yeah, I didn't take too kindly people telling me what to think, and I still don't now, but you know.
She wasn't very shy about that.
No. Yeah. It's like I'm gonna be a human, you know, an adult human soon. I'm gonna make my own choices. So don't tell me what, you know, to believe or whatever. I'm gonna make my own decisions, and I'm gonna be informed, and I'm gonna learn about it, and then if it's for me, I'll let you know, and if it's not, I'll let you know.
Yeah.
Do you like working at the FDE shop?
Oh my God.
And is Emily a good boss? Why don't you guys wrote these questions? What's wrong with you? This is like bash Emily section.
Oh man. That's a great question.
It is.
Whoever wrote that, thanks. No, actually it's really fun to come over to the FDE shop because you know what? I can come over whenever I want to. I don't have a schedule. Nope. I don't have to punch a time clock. I can come over and play with Doyle. Yep. I can come over and rash Whoppy. Sorry. You know,
she's only had one Diet Coke today, I promise, and it wasn't spiked with anything.
But anyway, she lets me wrap the washi that I like.
Yes.
So if it's something that I don't like.
Yeah, she goes, I don't really like this one. You can do this one.
What's going on here? You're licking my tummy. Well, I ate lunch before I came over, so I don't know what's going on. I don't think I spilled on myself. No. All right.
Doyle.
That's it.
You done? You done? Whoop. You've revoked your privileges. Okay. You done, boy. Whoop. And then, okay, so is Emily a good boss?
Oh. Well, she doesn't really require too much of me, so it's okay. She's good. I got it covered.
All right, well that's good.
I've got all years of experience with her, so
she does.
I know how to handle her now.
She does. There's a lot of people I think that have this like misconstrued notion that like you have a schedule, like you have to be here at a certain time. that you like literally are working
Yeah,
here. Yeah, she just comes over and we hang out and make lunch, and you get unlimited Diet Cokes and food when you come over here. So
she feeds me when I come over.
yeah, like that's the payment.
If I'm here over a feeding time.
A feeding time, yes.
She feeds me.
Yes, we have lunch or dinner or whatever.
It works out well.
Yeah, exactly. So it's not like a set schedule thing, and whenever she wants to come over, she can come over, and sometimes I'm not here and she's like, I just want to come over. I'm like, okay. So have fun. There's a bunch of stuff on the counter. She's like, alright, cool.
I just let Doyle out of his cage and he runs around, and we sometimes go for walks, and then I just start wrapping washing.
Yep.
So whatever I get done, and what I don't,
oh well. It's no big deal. I'll just finish the rest. It's not a problem. So I like the help. It works great. What are your favorite TV shows, movies, and or books? I don't know if you got any good recommendations out there. I will leave links below to anything she talks about that I can find links to.
All right. Well, I'm a big fan of The Voice, America's Got Talent. Those kind of programs, I kind of like those.
How do you feel about American Idol? I haven't asked you this.
Yeah, no.
Since like Katy Perry's on there,
No.
I don't watch those shows, so I don't really know.
Not so much.
She used to be really into it.
I used to be, but I dropped off a few years back.
Yeah.
Because
it started getting kind of weird.
Well, I just didn't like the making fun of the contestants.
Yeah.
I didn't like that. You know, I thought, you know, it's just rude to do that. So just, you know, I like The Voice because the people that go on there, even if they don't even make it to a team, they've legitimately got a good voice to start with.
And they give them good, like, constructive criticism too, and not to be mean or, you know, slander them or whatever. Like, they're just trying to be helpful to say, like, hey, come back next year, like, work on it, you're young, you know, work on your pitch or whatever.
And they actually coach them. And that's the thing that I like about that program. So, and it's fun, you know, and not every performance is that great, but, you know, but it's fun to just kind of watch it and kind of see where it goes. I'm not really into voting on that at all, but you know, that's okay.
She's a lurker.
She's a lurker. I'm a lurker. So, and that's okay.
Do you have a favorite movie or movies?
Not really.
No.
I mean, it'd probably be a Disney movie.
Yeah, she really likes Disney movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but not the new ones, not the new ones. I like the old classics. Dumbo was great.
Do you have any favorite books?
Oh, yeah, well, actually I do. I have been just reading a lot. Since I moved to Florida, I joined a book club through my church, and it has been just really fun because it's been different kinds of books that I wouldn't normally read. Typically I read like family sagas and biographies. I like to read history. I like stuff like that. The book club that I belong to is a bunch of other crazy gals at the church that I belong to. And we just have
a good way to put it.
We have a great time discussing books, and it's different kinds of books that I wouldn't typically read. So it's nice to be able to expand a little bit and do some stuff like that. The most recent book that I read a couple of times ago was a book by actually a classmate of mine. And I think Emily put something on the vlog not too long ago.
I'll link the book down below again. What does it called?
But her name is Barbara Deese, D-E-E-S-E. And she writes a series called No Ordinary Woman. And it's a mystery series about 5 middle-aged women from Minnesota that solve murder mysteries. And it's just an interesting kind of book. I've only read one of the series so far, but I'm gonna go back and read the others. But she's a great author, and I enjoy reading her books, and she puts a lot of information in there about Minnesota, and that's kind of cool for me because I always
know where it is.
Yeah, it's places that I know and I've been to and stuff. So anyway, but I do enjoy reading. I just actually finished a book this morning because I was trying to get it done before I go on vacation.
She's like, I got it. I can't
get it done.
You can't leave a cliffhanger for 2 weeks, you know?
No.
Since people know that you have been crafting in the past, what are your favorite crafts to either do or make or enjoy? Because I've told people that you like to work with your hands, which is why you like to, you know, do washi sometimes. So it's like, oh, she likes to work with her hands. She's a crafty lady. And they're like, well, what's that mean? So I'll let you explain what that means.
I have for many years done kind of cross stitch, and I very much enjoy making things for that. I just recently did 3 Christmas stockings in needlepoint for the grandkids, and those turned out really, really cute.
They're really cute.
Yeah, they turned out really cute. And then I do a lot of crocheting, and just recently I've started working on a plarn. Some people might know what that is, but you actually take plastic grocery bags and you put them in strips and loop them together so that they're kind of like a ball of yarn, and you take them and either crochet or knit them. You can weave them if you want to too. I make plastic mats, plastic sleeping mats. Our church is involved with that down in Florida, and we make them and give them to the homeless. It's a more secure place for them to lay on, so it brings them up off the ground. It won't get moldy because it's made out of plastic. You can just hose them off. So it's just one little thing that you can do to help those that are in need. Those are things I've been working on.
Plus you got the skills to know how to do it. I don't know how to do it.
Plus you take those plastic bags, which, you know, people are throwing away, and, you know, they're recycled in a way that really actually is going for a good use.
Yeah, so you just like give them a second life. So
yeah,
cool.
And it takes about 600 grocery bags to make a mat.
Wow.
It's a lot.
So this is in reference to a video I did a long time ago. I will link it up in a card or down below if I can find it. But I did my, I did like my planning story, I think is what I called it. And I talked about how you had a calendar when I was quite young, and you always had it in your purse, and I just felt like it was like super grown up. So people want to know if you still have a calendar in your purse.
No.
Oh, what? The horror! I think she uses her phone. Yeah.
I use my phone.
Yeah.
It's in my phone.
Okay. And then
this is as techie as I get, folks. But my calendar is in my phone.
And then also people want to know if you would want an Erin Condren planner, because they think they know someone that could get you one.
I know someone that could give me one too. Thanks, but no thanks.
She does like some of the Erin Condren products. I think you have like 3, maybe 2 or 3 blankets.
Yes.
Just in Minnesota. Yes. And then you've got a few.
And then there's 2 more in Florida.
Yeah, so my advice always is, if you guys decide to get the Sherpa throw blanket,
get the big one.
Get the big one. It's like 20 bucks extra, but it's so worth it because it does completely cover like a normal sized human, you know, when you're just like on the couch watching a movie or using it at night or whatever as like a little cover up. My dog loves them. He's got all of them, so.
Even Emily's dad, who's 6 feet, it's big enough for him too.
Yep, and my brother has used it, and he's what, 6'1"?
Yep.
You know, it completely covers him, like, you know, from the neck down. So he really, I think, yeah, I gave Phil one too. It's in the Vikings colors. Oh. Now we're gonna talk about cruise stuff.
Oh geez.
There's so many questions that you guys have been asking me about the cruise. I've been talking about it for actually a long time, but just recently, the last month, people are like, so what cruise line are you going on? Who's coming with you? What excursions are you going on? And the only answer I know is who's coming with, because it's gonna be the both of us and then my Aunt Perky, which you guys will see in the vlogs. But yeah, what cruise line are we actually going on? I don't know. She coordinated all of this, so I was like, oh no, just let me know when it is.
It's the Princess line we're going on.
Okay. And then all I know is we're going to the land, well now, I wasn't gonna be a part of the land cruise, but now I am gonna be part of the land cruise. Right. So what is it, 3 days that we're gonna be in Denali?
2 days in Denali.
2 days. So I know we're gonna be there.
It gives us more of a chance to actually see the mountain, because a lot of times it's fogged over.
Yes.
So it gives us 2 days to possibly see it.
Yeah, so we're gonna be on land for 2 days, and then the rest of it's gonna be sailing. So do you remember any of the like excursions that we're possibly going to be doing? Well,
we're going to do some rail stuff, like old rail stuff. We're going to see a lot of totem poles. We're going to do some whale watching. There's going to be some Alaska Historical Society stuff. I'm really looking forward to that. I think that'll be really cool. Just a lot of different kinds of things. I think there were some gardens and things we were going to see up there too.
That sounds familiar.
I forgot all the paperwork back at
it's okay. You guys will see it in the vlogs. I'll vlog everything, and those will be up when I get back home from, you know, the cruise situation. What did you do before retirement for work?
My history on that is I worked for the University of Minnesota for over 30 years. I worked for them for over 30 years. Actually got laid off from them, which is the best thing that probably ever happened to me. But I loved working for them, but it was time to go. And then I spent some time working for my cousin Gay, who is a professional photographer and loved doing that for a short period of time. And then I worked for a company just down the street from me that made water softeners. And I did that for about 10 years. And that's actually where I retired from. So I quit my job on one day. The next day we closed on our house in Minnesota, sold it to somebody, and the day after that we had everything packed up in our 2 vehicles, my husband and I, and we drove to Florida. So in 3 days, just like, woo! Talk about changes, you know.
Big changes.
Big changes.
What do you enjoy about living in Florida?
Well, it's nice and warm in the wintertime.
Very true.
And you don't have to shovel snow. That's probably the best part.
Gotta shovel the rain.
No.
There's no shoveling involved.
When we first moved down there, we were driving around trying to figure out where in the world we were and whatever, and we were driving along, and I said to my husband, wow, look at that long driveway. Man, that must be really tough to shovel that. And I'm going,
oh wait.
Oh, never mind. They don't have snow down here, do they?
It's a culture shock. It was a little bit of a shocker.
We'd only been there for about 2 months. I still hadn't adjusted yet. You know, for the most part, I do enjoy it. There's things I don't like about it, but I do enjoy it. I've met a lot of really nice people down there. The folks at my church, I'll give a shout out to Emmaus Lutheran Church in Orange City, Florida. Gosh, they are such a wonderful, wonderful group of people. And they've kind of helped me over the transition to go from, you know, knowing like 4 people in Florida to, you know, a whole group of people that are, you know, really good friends.
Will you always come to Minnesota for summers? Or what's the deal? What's the deal, Mom? What's the deal? Everyone wants to know what the spiel deal is.
Well, I guess that sort of remains to be seen. I have brothers here in Minnesota. Emily lives here in Minnesota, so yes.
Jackson's here.
My grandson is here too. My mother and stepdad are still alive and still here as well. They're getting along in years, but they're still here as well. So, you know, things may change over time. I don't know. And will we be able to travel back and forth? I don't know. And where will we end up? I don't know. It just depends on...
Just like a big question mark right over her right now.
Yeah, it just...
Question mark.
What happens in the future and where is the best place to be. So we'll just take it a day at a time and figure out where that is. Right now, this is working out great. I love spending time. I love spending the summers in Minnesota. I love it. But I also like spending the winters down in Florida. So the best place, I don't know. So we'll see what happens in the future.
They want to know how you met Dad, and was it love at first sight?
Okay, so he's kind of an interesting guy.
He is.
Yeah. So I actually met him when I was working at the University of Minnesota. He was a student at the U at the time. And he came to a party. Actually, I saw him at a party a couple weeks prior to this and just saw him from across the room, and we just sort of exchanged glances and kind of flirted a little bit, but we really didn't even talk to each other. And then a couple weeks later, my roommates decided that they were going to have a party. So his friend Ray was invited to that party, and...
Oh, I didn't know Ray was there.
Yeah.
Oh, so I know who Ray is.
So anyway, so he came along. He had been painting his parents' house for their 25th wedding anniversary. They were off visiting relatives in Maine at the time, and his gift to them was to paint the outside of the house. So he came along with Ray, and we kind of hit it off, and you know, the next day he invited me to a movie. We went out to a movie and just kind of went on from there. I'm trying to think when it was. I think it was maybe a year or so after that. We had been downtown Minneapolis in the First Avenue area, and he ran into somebody that he knew, and it kind of introduced me, kind of not.
I don't know if I know this story.
And he got really kind of nervous about it.
Oh yeah, I know this story. Okay. I'm like, what are you talking about? What's going on?
Anyway, it turns out that he was actually dating 2 girls at the same time. Me and another gal. So he was a full-time student at the University of Minnesota. He was dating another girl on Friday nights, and he was dating me on Saturday nights.
You guys had your own night. I love it.
So he had to keep them straight, because one was one night and one was the other night. And Sunday he didn't do anything. By that time he was just wiped out.
He had like no time.
He was plumb, well, plus he was a student. He had to do his homework too.
True.
But he was basically plumb tuckered out, and when he ran into this gal, he was so nervous because he knew that she was going to go back and tell her friend, you know, hey, I saw Rowan downtown and he was with some other girl. Smarty him. So he says, about a week or so later, he goes to the Friday night girl and says, hey, you know, I am dating another girl. I just wanted to let you know. I don't know what you want to do about it. Blah, 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 blah. So she says, oh, okay. What do you want me to do about it? Oh, well, I thought maybe you'd want to know. Well, she says, you need to make your own decision. So you just let me know what you decide to do. So then on Saturday night, he had a date with me. And he told me the exact same thing. And I said, okay. So you're dating another girl on Friday night. What do you want me to do about it? And he said, well, I just thought you'd want to know. And I said, look, it's your life. You decide who you want to date. I said, I don't have any claims on you at this point. We hadn't been dating long enough that it was that serious. I mean, we liked each other a lot.
But you guys never had the conversation of like, we're exclusive, or like just the two of us. It just never came up.
No.
Okay.
I said, you have to decide for yourself. He goes, oh, okay. In his little head, he had figured that if he told both of us the same thing, that one of us would get mad and break up with him. Well, guess what? That did not work.
So he was still left with like 2 ladies he was dating.
And both of them knew about the other one.
And he thought at least one of them would get upset enough to be like, yeah, you're out of here, man.
Didn't happen. He had to make the choice himself.
How long did that take after he finally had the conversation with you to be like, oh, this other gal's kicked to the curb?
I think it was at least a couple weeks. So
he clearly couldn't make a decision.
So
like, oh, I don't know.
So when he asked me out on Friday night and Saturday night, then I knew that, you know, I guess I was the one.
You were the winner.
I guess.
Lucky you.
Yes. So after a while, I asked him, I said, well, why is it you chose me as opposed to her? And the reason was she smoked, I didn't.
Wow.
Yeah, that's how I won that man.
You just never know.
Who would have known? He's a good guy, and I love his family. I love his family. But he's an interesting guy.
He's strange.
He's a piece of cake.
Yeah. There's reasons why you guys don't see him on the vlogs a lot. It's okay. And everyone that meets him says, gosh, he's so nice.
Ooh.
But he's so weird. So you just gotta like know his personality. He's very strange. So there has been an overwhelming amount of questions about why my mom wears a hat. I've gotten lots of questions on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube comments, because you know we're doing washi and stuff like that. And I asked my mom before if she wanted to talk about it, and she said, sure, I'll talk about it. So, Mom, why do you wear a hat?
Since my teenage years, I have suffered from a condition called Trichotillomania. It's a long word, Trichotillomania. I'm sure Emily will.
Yes, I'll put links below on the resources so you guys can learn about it.
It's a behavior-based disease that you do repetitive actions all the time. You can do skin picking, hair pulling, you know, just different things like that. I pull my hair, and because of that, I wear a hat. So it's embarrassing. It is very embarrassing, but there is help out there for people that have that. It's a disease that is very private, and people don't want to talk about it because, of course, it's embarrassing. You know, if you're missing your hair or your eyelashes, or you've got, you know, scabs all over your arms and stuff, you don't want to talk about it. You're going to cover them up as much as possible so that you look as normal as anyone else. It isn't a disease that is really going to cause people a lot of, well, I mean, there is some difficulty, but it's never really held me back ever. I've worked through it. I mean, there are probably only a few things that have stopped me from doing things. Going swimming is one of them. I don't do that. And it's because I don't want to hop in a pool and wear my hat. That is embarrassing. But there is help out there for people that have this condition. There are psychotherapists, there are support groups. There is a learning center that is, hang on, I got the notes right here.
I told her this would be one of the questions because she agreed to it, so.
Yeah, it's a nonprofit organization, and I've worked with them quite a bit in the past too. It's called the TLC Foundation, and it stands for the Trichotillomania Learning Center. It's based out of California. They offer information and help and resources to people, to parents, to friends, anybody that wants to learn about this. They will provide information to you. They will help you find people in your area, professionals and support groups that that will help you with this as well. But it is something that is very, very private, and it's very embarrassing, again, because I am missing a lot of my hair. Shall I take my hat off?
If you would like to, it's completely up to you.
I have never, ever done this. Okay.
You don't have to if you don't want to.
I will. Okay. So this is what I look like without my hat. I don't have any hair on the top of my head, and I have a spot back here that is pretty bald too. So, you know, going out in public like this is not what I want to do. So if you see me out in public, this is how you're going to see me.
Yeah, you got your uniform on.
But in my own home, I will not have it on. But that's the way it is. And that's why it's embarrassing, folks. I mean, it is.
Well, I think it's probably more, embarrassing for you because then you'll either get questions of, oh, are you sick? The questions of why, or even just the stares as to like, yes, this is different. And even if it's not from adults, it can just be curiosity from children.
Yes.
And how do you answer that? To say, I have a condition where I'm a compulsive hair puller. Like, how do you explain that to someone that's just curious? Yep. And even a normal adult that doesn't know about any of it, how do you explain that to them? Because they don't get it, you know?
Yeah.
Where the idea is, oh, just stop pulling or just stop scratching or stop picking. Well, don't you think people could? I mean, you know what I mean? Like, it's not always as easy as that.
Trichotillomania is, it's based in your brain, and there's endorphins that you've got there, and actually, and this sounds totally weird, but when you pull your hair, it actually releases a positive endorphin, and it feels good. You go, you are nuts, and you are so right. But you know what? When you do that, it releases that tension and that feeling, and it's actually a positive release that you get when you actually pull your hair out.
Yeah. Something that might be more like commonly associated, not with trichotillomania, but that positive release is people that do cutting. It's very different, but it gives you that person that's doing the cutting, that release. So it's the same chemical that's the pleasure center or whatever of your brain saying this feels good, even though you know it's not good for you, but something happens because, you know, it's all in the brain.
All right.
Sorry, had to change the battery really quick, so sorry to interrupt you, Mom, but you can keep on going and chat about your stuff.
Well, one other thing I wanted to mention is, because this is so private that and people don't talk about it, you may have people in your life that have this condition that that you don't even know about, because it is hidden so well. You know, just be courteous of people, talk to them, you know, if you can.
I think it needs to come from, like, if you want to talk to somebody about a bald patch or scabs or something like that, just don't come from a place of, ew, that's gross, or what is that kind of a thing. Just go off like a genuine curiosity of like, oh, well, why is that? And, you know, can you tell me more about it? You know, wow, that's really interesting. You know, like, kind of like wanting to learn more about what's maybe going on internally inside of them, to not make them walk away from the conversation feeling embarrassed or feeling like, oh, now they know this about me and now they're gonna judge me. And, you know, whether it's someone in the grocery line or someone you work with, or someone in your normal, like, family, daily life kind of a situation. I know there's a lot of people that don't even know that they have it, and they're struggling, and they don't, you know why they've got scabs on their arms and their legs, and they can't stop picking, and they want to stop picking, but they just can't. And, you know, whether they, you know, grind their nails down or whatever, it doesn't work. And it can be as simple as that, or as simple as a stressor that, you know, causes it to kind of more be exposed. Because I know that that's happened to people in our lives and stuff too, of, you know, they had some stressful situations and then they started, you know, pulling hair is what happened to one of our family members. Yes. So once that stressful situation was over, they reverted back to not doing that, but they could always go back into it at some point or another. But I think it's just coming from like a kind heart of just like curiosity. I think, you know, I mean, and you'd have to say for yourself, but, you know, I would think if it was me in that position that I would want someone to understand where I was coming from and understand who I was, and this makes me, this is a part of me, but it's not all me, and this is just one thing, you know. It's like, oh, why do you take this medication for something? You shouldn't have to be embarrassed about, you know, oh, I have, you know, like I have thyroid disease, so like I shouldn't be embarrassed about thyroid disease and taking a medication. But you know, it's just because it's on the outside. Trichotillomania is on the outside, so it's something that people see. It's a physical thing. You can, you know, pick your face, or you can pick your arms, or you can, you know, pull your eyelashes or your arm hair or your head hair or whatever. So again, it's that chemical release that feels good. But I think it's when you come across as, ooh, what's that? And just already have like an attitude about it before you actually learn about it, I think is why a lot of people that have the condition don't want to talk about it, because it is a different outward appearance that's scary, you know? It is.
And you can't stop. I mean, there's a lot of research being done now, but folks, there really isn't a cure for this. It's a day-to-day struggle, and you know, there is help, you know, with therapists and support groups and that kind of thing, and information. But I think the biggest thing is get information about this, and I would encourage anybody that has an issue with this, contact the Trichotillomania Learning Center, because they are wonderful. Getting information out to folks and answering any questions that you've got to help you or a loved one through this, and just getting information. I know when I first learned about it, I had it, you know, since I said I was a teenager, I think, when I started with it.
Was it 18, 19?
Yeah.
Somewhere in there?
And I truly thought I was the only person in the world that ever pulled my hair. It was really a difficult and a tough situation for me. And my stepmom, when I was in my 30s, said to me, Jean, I read this article in Better Homes and Gardens or something, and it's about trichotillomania. You should read this. And it was like, wow, I had no idea. So
you went like 12 years thinking that this was like something that was wrong with you, and
I thought I was the only person that had this.
Yeah.
So I was able then to finally take the plunge and actually make a phone call the clinic, so that I could speak to a psychiatrist and a psychologist, and they put me in contact with a group of people that specialize this in Minneapolis, and it was really good. And I went to a couple of conventions that the TLC had, and that was really great too. So I mean, so they have all kinds of resources available that will help you, and it's much more known out there now. At the time that this was happening, when I was a young person, there really wasn't much information out there. So now I know of younger folks that have it, and they know what it is, which is wonderful. You know, it's like not knowing what it is really the tough part. Feeling the isolation that you think that you are the only one that deals with this. And if you also have questions, talk to your doctor. Your doctor can help you with this too. They have information, and they learn about this when they're still in medical school. So they won't have the answers probably, but they'll be able to refer you to somebody that will be able to help you.
And I actually have someone in my life that has trichotillomania, and I did not realize it. She is a friend of mine. We became friends in 2017, this past year, and I noticed that she didn't have eyelashes. However, she always wore really heavy like eyeliner, and I just never noticed it. And some people just don't have eyelashes. It does happen. So I am clearly very sensitive because of my mom going through this. And to just kind of segue all the way back, I had no idea that you suffered from this until I was in high school, and you were 31 when you had me. And so I didn't really put 2 and 2 together until you were in your late 40s. And I think it was just because, you know, you kind of get desensitized by your family unit of, you know, oh, my mom's just this way, or my dad's this way, or my brother's this way, or my, you know, grandma's this way, or whatever. Like, you just don't really think about it until you started going to some of the conventions and really reaching out to that organization, and then talking to me about it. I was like, what's the problem? What's going on? I had no idea. And then also seeking help with like therapists and things like that to just kind of help the condition. Like she said, there's no cure for it, but there are, you know, different things that you can do and different resources out there. I had just no clue. And then I just had a lot of questions. So, but yeah, I mean, just being really sensitive to, you know, like she said, like, okay, well, if we're at the pool, like I ain't going in, and I'll wear my cap and I'll wear my bathing suit, but I'm not going in the water. And I never really noticed that until, like, again, like I was in high school, because it just never, like I said, I never put those 2 and 2 together. Now, clearly I have a large sensitivity to this because of everything that she's gone through and all the information that I know now as someone that doesn't have trichotillomania but has a family member that has it. Getting back to the friend that I am friends with, and I had noticed that she didn't have any eyelashes, and I've never said anything about it. I will never say anything about someone's outward appearance ever, because it's just not my place. And I feel like if they want to tell and confide in me in something, they can, and vice versa. Like, it's like commenting on someone like, oh, when are you due? And they're like, clearly it's just like a food baby, you know, like you just don't comment, you know. So it's just like, no. So anyway, another mutual friend of ours, we were kind of hanging out. They said to this girl in front of me, oh gosh, I never noticed, you actually don't have any eyelashes. And she got so embarrassed, and her and I were kind of sitting together, and she looked like she was about to cry. And I'm like, oh my gosh, she has trichotillomania. And I just didn't know. But, you know, it's the hiding thing, it's the embarrassing thing. So when that other person kind of walked away, I said to her, do you have trichotillomania? And she goes, oh my gosh, you know what that is? I mean, she went from like feeling so low to being so excited that somebody knew exactly what she had gone through. And she's quite young. She's in her, I think she's in her late 20s. But she's been dealing with this since she was about 13, 14. She pulls her arm hair and her eyelashes. She doesn't do her hair like my mom does, but you know, it's different things. And she also would, when she was younger, I guess, would do the scabs, scratching of her legs. So her and her family decided to elect to get laser done to her arms and legs to kind of help that, and that's something that some people can do out there. But I mean, she was so excited that I knew what it was, and she's like, we talked for like a good 2 hours about trichotillomania and what it was, and you know, if she tells people that she has it, they have no idea what it is. You know, the mentality of like, well, then just stop doing it. You know,
that's not the way it works.
It's not the way it works.
It does not work that way.
It does work that way in someone's, you know, brain that does not have trichotillomania, but it's about being sensitive to other people's issues and things like that they cannot change. And it's, like you said, it's not something that goes away. It's something that's dealt with.
Yeah, it's a chemical imbalance in your brain.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, you know, exactly.
It's like,
exactly.
It hasn't been fixed on me yet, so I'm gonna have it until I die.
Yep, and it's just about managing it, you know, and there's stressful times where you're gonna do it more, or you're not gonna do it for a long time, and you catch yourself. And I even remember when I was a kid, and we were, you know, I was in high school, and you were being, you know, more transparent about it, and you're like, if you see me doing it, tell me to stop, because she didn't actually know she was doing it. I remember getting home from school and we would kind of like, we'd have dinner and then we'd like sit down and like watch a movie or like watch TV, and you would just sit and pull, and I never even realized it. And then you didn't even know you were doing it until you would like get up to like go to bed at the end of the day. And but she was very adamant as I was older to say, if you see me doing this, tell me to stop, because I don't even know I'm doing it. And that's kind of how that chemical imbalance works, or actually doesn't work, is you don't really know you're doing whatever you're doing. And I'm sure some people out there that are watching this have people in their lives that suffer from this condition, that probably don't even know that they have the condition, or have never asked the question as to why do you have so many scabs or whatever. But not everyone's okay talking about it either.
Yeah.
And that's another thing.
And if you have it and you're embarrassed about it, talk to somebody that you trust.
Yeah.
You know, that's the most important thing. Don't go to the person that you go, oh, they're just gonna make fun of me anyway.
Right.
Don't go to that person.
No.
Go to that person who is a supporter of you. They're going to be the ones that are going to be able to help you and guide you. But if you talk to your doctor, you know, try to get some medical help again through psychologist, support group. That learning center is wonderful. Those folks will be able to help you. But look at your support group that you have around you too. Talk to them about it, because they probably don't know what it is either. And they want to be able to understand it.
Right.
So if you can get information for yourself, educate those around you as well, so that they understand what it is. It just makes all the difference in the world.
And if you just explain what it is, sometimes it just becomes more of a, not a conversation piece, but just understanding of maybe why someone doesn't want to go swimming.
Yeah.
You know, you might not know why your aunt or your friend or, you know, your boyfriend or whoever it is, like they don't want to take their hat off, or they don't want to, you know, show their legs or whatever it is. Like they just might be embarrassed about something that is just so on the exterior if they were to remove an article of clothing, and they just don't want to talk about it.
Typically it's mostly women, but there is a small minority of men that have this as well. So, and it ranges through the entire population. So it's more common than you really think. It's just hidden out there.
Exactly. Yeah. And I've had lots of people in my life that I suspect have gone through something similar than this. And, you know, at that point I didn't really have a relationship with them where I could ask them about it, to say, my mom actually like suffers from this, like, you know, just have that type of a conversation. But again, because of what my mom's been through, I'm just very sensitive to anyone's outward appearance. I actually had an old coworker that always wore a hat, and it was a female. For Halloween, they decided to all dress up like this individual that wore a hat, because that was like her uniform was a sweatshirt, a baseball hat, and jeans. I was mortified by the thought of first of all, dressing up like another person. I feel like, no thank you. Like I just didn't want to be a part of that. Because my mom wears a hat all the time, and I know that she suffers from this condition and there's nothing she can do about it, I didn't know what was underneath that individual's hat. And I know I might have been like really, really reaching there, but you know, I don't know what someone's going through, and to kind of almost like poke fun at someone's like physical appearance for Halloween, I just was like, no thank you. And I remember going into work that day and I didn't bring a hat and didn't dress up in the way that this other individual dressed. And I did that specifically so I wouldn't be part of like this group photo, because no, like we don't need to do that. I mean, if we all want to dress up like a superhero, then that's fine, but we don't need to dress up like other people because of the hat situation. I was just like, absolutely not. I will not do that. No, thank you. I don't know why that person wears a hat. Maybe she just likes wearing a hat, and she just likes wearing a hat. She doesn't have trichotillomania, but what if she does? What if she, you know, does have it? I don't want to be insensitive. So it's just like, no, I'm good. And I remember like my boss even talked to me about it, was like, well, why didn't you do this? And I'm like, I am not going to like make fun of someone's outward appearance, and that's how I feel this whole situation is. And they're like, oh yeah, well she's in on the joke, and I said, I don't care. I'm not in on the joke, so I don't think it's funny. But yeah, but you know, I think like we've said, there's probably a lot of people that you guys might know, or maybe you that's watching this might have issues with, and it's just something that we've all kind of dealt with as a family too. I mean, you're the one dealing with it, but hey, I have a question for you. I'm sure people are gonna ask how Dad either reacted to it, because you had met him after you started pulling. How is that relationship dynamic with the trichotillomania? Does it make a difference, or you know, what are his thoughts on it? I guess I don't know.
At the point of time that I met him, it wasn't that bad. At that point, it was just a nervous habit that I had at that point in time. And it wasn't until well after we were married that it got to the point where there were bald patches on my head. And he was one of the people that just said, just stop, just stop. Mm-hmm. And it's like, you know what? I would if I could. I can't.
Yeah.
I just can't. And at that point in time, I didn't have a diagnosis either. So again, I thought I was the only person in the world. So I was suffering all alone, trying to cope with this.
Yeah, and trying to stop, but you couldn't stop.
And trying to stop, mm-hmm. because my husband, whom I loved, you know, asked me to, but I couldn't. So it was even more stress on me, because I knew I wasn't making him happy, because it wasn't something that he wanted to see either. And it was difficult for him. Later on, when I finally got more information, I was able to share that with him, and it helped, but it's a difficult subject, even with him, even to this day, actually.
See, I don't even know some of these things just because I'm not in your relationship, you know? So,
yeah,
I don't know. But my dad's a very weird individual, like we said before, so he's very like matter of fact on certain things, like, well, you do this and you do that and da-da-da. He's a good delegator. Yeah. And he's a good supervisor.
Yes, he likes to supervise.
But he doesn't really...
Anytime that he's in the room.
Oh, 100%, 100%. And having a conversation with him is not something that anyone really wants to do. He just kind of talks, but he doesn't listen. He's one of those people that, you know, you have to, it's like his way or the highway. It's very much who he is as a person. So he thinks everyone should agree with his thoughts and opinions. And if you don't agree with his thoughts and opinions, he actually doesn't want to hear why you think something different and how it could logically be something that should be considered. He doesn't want to hear it. So it's just kind of like, okay. So you can't really have like a back and forth conversation about topics, I guess.
And when he has enough information, if a question is out there and you try to answer it, once he has enough information, it's whoop,
yep, whoop, whoop, stop talking, yep.
So,
exactly.
That's difficult.
Yeah, well, he does it on the phone too. He'll like call me and be like, hey, you want to go to lunch? And I'm like, well, I'm just making my lunch right now. He's like, oh, okay. And I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna have this and I'm gonna do this other stuff. He's like, yeah, I get it. Okay, bye. Like, he just like hangs up. He's so weird. Stop talking. Hey, there's a bumper.
Oh, okay.
So anyway, we are done with the Q&A. I know it was a long one, but thank you guys so much for hanging out with us today. If you have any other questions, we might do another Q&A in the future at some point. You never know. You can put them down below, or I might be able to answer some of the questions for you. And yeah, that's it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and we'll see y'all in the next video. Bye!
Well, folks, it's time to kick it old school.